You're listening to the Crew Book Club podcast, the show that challenges you to change your mindset through hearing about dope books. Thanks for hanging with the crew to get advice, ask questions, and gain knowledge with me, your host, Sade Hill. What up, crew? What's good? It's your girl, Sade. Thanks for tuning in for another episode of the Crew Book Club podcast. Hey, how are you feeling? Are you feeling good? Feeling great? Hey, if not, girl, it is okay. Finish listening to this pod and you're going to be feeling real good about your gifts of imperfections. Okay? Because none of us are perfect. Far from it. Girl, if we was perfect, we'll be Jesus. Oh, and I don't know if y'all really want that responsibility. I ain't know yet. I could not die on a cross for any of y'all. Okay, so God is still working on me. But I definitely want to be more like him, right? And so being more like him involves us by being checked. And it is what it is. It's so much stuff I want to get into. So we're just going to hop right into it. Who gonna check me, boo? God is, and he is always checking us. Oh, Lord knows I needed to be checked this week. Up and down, all the way around. And before we even get into the Who Gonna Check Me Boo scripture, I just have to say this scripture, this Who Gonna Check Me really checked me after I had a moment to be vulnerable. And this is why I'm telling you, it's so important to have a tribe that you really trust, that you could be 1,000% transparent, open, sound crazy in front of. Because once you're able to open up and sound crazy, I would rather sound crazy in front of my tribe, my intimate circle, than to sound crazy in front of a stranger or around people that don't know me. And I have this group of girlfriends that I feel like I could be 1,000% transparent with, that I've known for practically all my life since kindergarten, since birth. You know what I'm saying? And I honestly feel like some of the stuff that I said to them out loud at a dinner we had, I was like, I got in the car and I was like, girl, you sound dumb as fuck. Excuse my French, but I sounded so ignorant. I sounded so, I don't even know how to express it, but the fact that I was able to say it out loud and they were able to, what we call, hit me with the bus, meaning hit me with the truth. I'm that type of person. Like, you can't sugarcoat nothing around me. Like, you got to give it straight gutter. You got to tell me exactly what it is, because if not, that beating around the bush, that keeping it cute for me do not work. Don't keep it cute with me. Keep it funky with me. Especially if we that tight, because I expect that from my tribe. So then I'm like leaving the dinner. I'm like, okay, that's cool. What's up? I'm checked in a way. Then my happy behind wake up the next morning and I turn on Who I Love, TD Jakes. I watch him just about every week, even after I watch my home pastor and go to church. He's like, TD Jakes, Pastor Michael Todd, and Stephen Furtick are like my go-tos throughout the week. I always like to re-up on their services, because I be needing a dose. And this message, Strengthen What Remains, that he preached, when you're listening, it'll be last Sunday, read me, completed me all over. And I felt like it really checked me. And it really was John, he preached from John 60 through 69. And the two that really stuck out to me, the three scriptures, was chapter 60, verse 65. It says, he went to say, this is why I told you that no one can come to me unless the Father has enabled them. And then 68, Simon Peter answered him, Lord, to whom shall we go? You have the words of eternal life. 69, we have come to believe and to know that you are the Holy One of God. Let me tell y'all, Jesus is so gangster. He said, if you coming for me, that means God sent you and I can handle it. And he gonna handle it. God gonna handle it. Okay? So the same goes for you. If you come for me, just know that I was equipped to handle you because I walk with Jesus. All right? And then It's like, I don't have nowhere else to go. I don't have no choice but to follow Jesus because he is the one. He is the Holy One. And I believe in that. And Pastor T.D. Jakes, Bishop, said 3 pointers that stood out to me through that message was, if you are not careful, you will undervalue about who stays, and the anointing falls on people who stay. I'm not leaving God for nothing. I'm not leaving him for nothing. I cannot afford to leave him for nothing. And it's one of them things like, I'm going to stick it out and I'm going to stay. And that goes for like relationships. You know what I'm saying? The ones that really need to be together, that God wants together, you're going to find the energy to stay. And you're going to be anointed for that. The other point he made was, focus on what you get, what you got left. Whatever is gone, whether the person walked away, whether the job was lost, don't focus on what was, focus on what is. And the test of a real relationship isn't when it's easy, it's when it's hard. Okay. That's personal. All right. Another thing that really stood out to me, the point that he made, all that left you could not stay, and all that stayed could not leave. And I was just like, boy, you better drop some bombs, okay? It was just so good. And it was when I first started listening to it, I was walking around listening to it on my AirPods, and I'm like, no. This isn't one of them sermons where I need to sit down, pull out my journal, and take notes. I have like 3 pages of notes. I was literally pausing and stopping listening to this episode of Strengthen Your What Remains. I'm going to attach it into the show notes so you can check it out as well. All right. So that was the Who Gon Check Me Boo. God is, and he is always what? Checking us so we can stay in check. Hey. All right. So let's get into some crew love. I did receive some crew love. It was a vibe. And this crew love, I do not take lightly because it actually came from someone who inspires me, someone who coached me how to get into the podcast world. And I know she just don't be leaving reviews for everybody. She is not that type of coach. She is not that type of friend, that type of person. And she just really touched me by leaving this review because I know she doesn't just do this. And the review clearly was from Carla. Yes, shout out to Carla Ramirez. And I just appreciate you, sis. And she said, motivation to learn, ! We all need that bookworm friend who will motivate us to read books that not only will entertain us, but feed our soul. Thank you. You are welcome, sis. Like, the fact that the feed our soul and entertain is all in that same review is just like, that's what I want. And the fact that she said that, and she's like the podcaster of podcasters to me, and the fact that this is what she does as a job outside of just podcasting, she has ideas to launch where she helps other people launch podcasts. The fact that she can hear that through my pod is amazing. So I really appreciate that review and absolutely love when you guys leave a review. So definitely get on to the Apple Podcast platform and leave a written review, and it will be shared right here on the podcast. And if you're leaving those 5 stars on Spotify, do that, and I appreciate that as well. I see you, boo. All right, thanks for showing me some crew love. Now, any book that I do, I try to make sure it's on Audible, but if not, it will always be in the show link to order the book. And Audible link is there too. It gives you the opportunity to hear the book while you're driving around and being busy, taking care of your kids, taking care of your business. You can be listening to books that get you right. And the Gifts of Imperfection is on Audible. You can click the link in the show notes to get a free 30-day premium experience. Audible has shows that you can listen to, theatrical shows you can listen to. It has comedy. It's like a whole variety. So if you want to experience that and listen to Audible books, get that free 30 days. Free. Okay, we love free. Try it for the free. All right. Now, let's get into the Gifts of Imperfection. I'm so excited. And I'm not even going to zhuzh it up. We're just going to get into the content. Okay. Courage, compassion, and connection is everything. Those are actually the gifts of imperfection. Let me wrap them up, make them pretty, and put a bow on it, is what she does in this book. Okay. And remember, from Atomic Habits, we love stuff that are attractive. And she really makes this gifts of imperfection attractives. And let me tell y'all, you ever think about your worthiness? Like, are you worthy? I know me personally, and a lot of my friends struggle with worthiness, okay? Which can lead to the imposter syndrome, but that's a whole other conversation. But worthiness is practicing courage, compassion, and connection in our daily lives is how we cultivate worthiness. And there's some keywords in there, and that's literally the first sentence in the chapter. Okay. And these aren't just chapter 1, 2, 3, 4. These are like title chapters. So I'm going to say this is just on page 11. Okay. The two words that stuck out to me is practice and cultivate. Practicing, I do this daily. This is an action thing. In cultivating, I got to make it happen. Okay. You're not just going to sit around and get worthiness. You have to practice it and cultivate it. And I really like that she used those, and then daily. This is not just a one-time thing of practicing and cultivating. Today, I'm going to do that for one day and then it's it. It's something that you have to do daily. And daily can be minute to minute, hour to hour. All right? I really like how she even starts it off. She discusses this disaster speaking engagement with a group of school parents that are not connecting to their message based on the fact that the principal did communicate to the parents what type of message it was and what type of vibe it was going to be. So she's standing up there telling this story. She calls it the gun for hire shame story. And she gets into this situation, and she has these parents that are not connecting with her. So she's trying to win them over. And it's always a mistake, she says, when you try to win people over, because it means trading in your authenticity for approval. You stop believing in your worthiness and start hustling for it. And oh man, she says, did she hustle? Y'all ever been in situations like that where you feel like, I know I have, where I've been in spaces where I'm not connecting with people based off of who I am, and either I dumb myself down because I'm trying to win them over to be cool with me or accept me because I may be too much. And it's like, I'm not even being authentic. And if they approve that person that I am over time, that's going to get daunting to try to show up that way. So we done with trying to win people over. If people can't accept you for you and your authenticity and your vibes alone and your issues, whatever that comes with you, then keep it P. Keep it pushing. All right? She also says this in the book. Recognize shame when it's happening. That is so important. Physical symptoms of shame: dry mouth. Hers is dry mouth, time slowing down, and tunnel vision, hot face, and racing heart. She says, I know that playing the painful slow motion reel over and over in my head is a warning sign. This is so important to recognize when it is happening. All right, so we can check it, right? And then she made it very apparent when this is happening, reach out ASAP. And to do that, it takes courage. And the most important thing is reaching out to the right person to share your story with. It has to be someone that deserves and earns the right to hear that struggle at that time, so they can make sure they're showing up correctly, right? Because in those moments, you need somebody that got your back, okay? And it takes courage to do that. And it says shame hates when we reach out and tell our story. It hates having words wrapped around it. It can't survive being shared. Shame loves scarcity. The most dangerous thing to do after a shaming experience is hide or bury our story. All right? The benefit is there is an issue if you share with the wrong person. That's important. She says here, if we share our shame story with the wrong person, they can easily become one more piece of flaming debris in an already dangerous storm. We want solid connection in a situation, okay? So avoid these things. And when you listen to this, this is just not about avoiding that person. This is also a lesson where we can learn how to show up for our friends so we cannot be this person. Okay? The person that says, I feel sorry for you. It's sympathy versus empathy. The person who responds with sympathy, I feel sorry for you, rather than empathy, I get it, I feel you, and I've been there. The subject of this response is distance. Oh, you poor thing, bless your heart. These are things we want to stay away from. We don't want to have sympathy in these moments. We want to have empathy. And to me, I hear just connecting with them on that level, like I get it, I feel you, and I haven't been there, instead of saying, oh my God, I feel. It's like it kind of makes it feel worse, right? This is another one. You should feel shame. Dun, 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 judgment. No. The person who hears the story and actually feels shame for you, the friend gasps or confirm, is what you feel like. Oh, it's just like it adds that extra pressure to it. Then you have to make this person feel better by convincing them that you're not a terrible person. So we want to avoid that. She mentioned 6 others, but I just named some of the most popular ones. The other one that I felt like we tend to say a lot is if you think that's bad, comparing and competing. And I have a lot of different races of friends. And I remember on one particular episode, I think it was Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And, I can't think of the girl name. But, okay, I found it. Sutton and Crystal. I don't remember. Y'all remember, I think it was last season, where Sutton was saying, I don't see color. I've been in situations where I felt this, and my daughter was in the hot tub with all of her friends, and I felt like that's what that should look like. It's like, don't compare your situation with mine. Like, I'm black, you're white. I'm a minority, you're not. So instead of in that moment of being empathetic, she wanted to instead of she was comparing and competing, like, oh, da 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 da. And I think she did it this season with what's the new Diana. She did it with Diana with the miscarriage, and she was just like, well, I had a miscarriage too. And I'm like, girl, this ain't a moment for you to be doing all of that. Like stop. So don't be one of their friends like comparing and competing to be like and trying to connect over shared experience with the opportunity like that. Listen to what happened. You know what I'm saying? To that person. Don't make it about you. So that was really good. I feel like those were some good starter points. Another one I just realized, like going into the fix it mode, like we gotta fix it, let's fix it. At that moment, it might not be about fixing it. At that moment, it just could be listening to people's emotions and stop trying to fix it all the time. All right? Because then a lot of times you might end up fixing something and getting involved in something that you really don't know the detail of just based off of someone's emotions. So just be very careful with that. But I found those are some really good pointers to go with when it comes to how to show up for people when they're struggling in that situation and reaching out for help. All right. So let's get into the next part about, these gifts of imperfection: courage, compassion, and connection. Cool thing about courage. Let's talk about courage for a second so we can get an understanding. She says she realized that courage is one of the most important qualities that wholehearted people have in common. And not just any kind of courage. She found that wholeheartedness requires ordinary courage. Yes, we're just ordinary people. Ordinary courage is about putting our vulnerability on the line. In today's world, that's pretty extraordinary. Okay, being vulnerable. We have this thing about, oh, I gotta have it all together, and me being successful is chucking it up the deuces and keep it going, and only sharing our successful stories instead of actually being vulnerable and being our authentic selves. You know what I'm saying? And being open to that. So I really like, it takes courage to do that. And that's a gift. And that is something we have to practice and cultivate. And I would rather practice that with my inner circle and tribe before I start practicing that on the World Wide Web. Instagram, any type of social media, okay? Compassion. I like how she talks about compassion. Sometimes we shield ourselves by turning to judgment or by immediately going into fix-it mode. We must be honest and forgiving about when and how we shut down. And cultivating compassion, we draw from as well as our cruelty and terror. And cultivating compassion, we draw from the wholeness of our experiences. Compassion is not a relationship between the healer and the wounded. It's a relationship between equals. Only when we know our own darkness well can we be present with the darkness of others. Oh, that's deep. Only when we know our darkness well can we be present with the darkness of others. That's like another way of saying I got to keep it real with myself before I can keep it real with anybody else. That's just another way of saying that. How I'm going to be able to handle your darkness if I can't even handle mine? Okay? Compassion becomes real when we recognize our shared humanity. We are in this together. We go through this together. Let's go through this thing together. We all have experienced trauma. We all have experienced something. Okay? So humanity, shared humanity. That's good. In the situation where she had that moment of that horrible speaking engagement, her friend Ashley was willing to be in her darkness with her. She wasn't there to be the helper or the fixer of me. She was just with me as an equal, holding my hand as I waded through my feelings. Sometimes it's just all we need. And we have to have more compassion for people. And I really feel like we're missing that from society because we be so quick to cancel instead of having compassion. All right. So let's talk about, connection. That last gift of imperfection, connection. She says, I define connection as an energy that exists between people when you feel seen, heard, and valued, when they can give and receive without judgment, and when they derive substance and strength from their relationships. Ooh, that's so important. Derive substance and strength from a relationship. A relationship shouldn't be drowning you, pulling you down. It should be giving you strength, and you should be seen, heard, and valued. And I think when we communicate to and I'm not talking about just love relationships, I'm talking about all relationship, coworkers, family, friends, significant others. Like the same way you want to be seen, heard, and valued, you have to give that to that person. Okay. And we should be lifting each other up in relationships and giving each other strength, not tearing each other down. And you have to watch that connection. And if that connection ain't that, then you need to reevaluate. Trust me. I've been there. Been there, here, all of that. Okay. One of the greatest barriers to connection is the cultural importance we place on going it alone. Somehow we've come to equate success with not needing anyone. No, baby, we need each other. It talks about every book we've done. It talked about leaning on and having a tribe, having a crew that you can really lean on. We need people. Not one successful person I know got successful without the help and need of others. We cannot do this life thing alone. All right. So it says here, it's as if we divided the world into those who offer help and those who need help. The truth is, we are both. We can offer help and need help. It's like together. Now, like I said, if you're always pouring, helping, but nobody's pouring, and helping you, you're going to get messed up. You're going to get resentment. You're going to start hating people and doing stuff that's not normal because you're having issues and resentment because you're always pouring and not getting filled. So it's okay to be both. It's okay to offer help and need help at the same time. All right? So keep that in mind. So that was courage, compassion, and connection part, how to practice that daily so we can cultivate our worthiness. That was so good. Okay, so I want to tap in a little bit about exploring the power of love, belonging, and being enough, which starts on page 32. She says the greatest challenge for most of us in believing that we are worthy now, right this minute, because we associate worthiness doesn't have to have a requisite. A lot of times we think, she gives a bunch of examples. I'm gonna just give a few. I'll be worthy when I lose 20 pounds. I'll be worthy when I can do it all and look like I don't even try. I'll be worthy when my parents finally approve. I'll be worthy if I hold my marriage together. I'll be worthy if everyone thinks I'm a good parent. Why does our worthiness have to depend and be a prerequisite of that comes with an action? You know, she says we are worthy of love and belonging now, right now, as is. Take me as I am. Take me as I am. That's all I'm saying. Love me as is. We all got work to do. All right. She says here, you might say I love you every day, but when it's the last time you had a serious conversation with someone about the meaning of love? Love is the mirror image of shame. We desperately don't want to experience shame, and we're not willing to talk about it. Yet, the only way we resolve shame is to talk about it. The only way we resolve shame is to talk about it. Shame and love are grounded in vulnerability and tenderness. Oh, the little tenderness. But yeah, like vulnerability and tenderness. That's so good right there. And I'm gonna be honest, like I feel like one of the reasons why my relationship gets better is because I'm able to be more vulnerable and more tender. All right. So that was really good. I love that. Also on page 37, she says, practicing self-love means learning how to trust ourselves, to treat ourselves with respect, and to be kind and affectionate toward ourselves. Before we can love anybody else, we got to know how to love ourselves. And that takes practicing self-love. I absolutely love that. So before we can love and belong to someone else, we need to love and belong to ourselves. Okay. And one of the things that really helped me with self-love is BetterHelp. Getting therapy. I'm constantly in therapy and I ain't got no shame about it. It keeps me completely insane. I always tell y'all, between God and therapy, that's what keeps me going. And so, we've partnered up with the crew, who's the sponsor of this episode, BetterHelp, to give y'all behinds 10% off your first month of therapy. Even if you do therapy for once a week, every week, if you don't see a difference, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe there's something else you can practice. And I have had people say it don't work for me. It don't do it for me. Okay, just because it don't work with one thing, try it again. But I also told you with BetterHelp, you can change therapists over and over if you wanted to, but search for the right one. The same way you look for the right doctor, do that with therapy, and I'm telling you, you will absolutely love it. So the link is in the show notes. Check out betterhelp.com/crewlove. That's betterhelp.com/crewlove and get you some therapy. Show yourself some self-love by doing that. Help yourself belong to yourself. Help yourself love yourself. And to be aware of that is to work through all those traumas and things that you've been avoiding. Remember last week's challenge, Own Your Story? Go to therapy, talk to the therapist, and give them all of your story so they can properly heal you. All right? All right. So that was the first 2 sections of the book, y'all. And it's deep. And I skipped over a lot for the sake of time. And the chapter about exploring the power of love, belonging, and being enough. There's so much deep stuff in there that I could have went in on. But y'all know, y'all be on limited time span. All right. So before we get out of here, let's finish our last few segments. The challenge of the week. Woo, let me give y'all a good old challenge. The challenge of the week is love on you. Love on you. Make it personal and say it with me. I will love on me. Oh, that feels good. I will love on me. Let's say it together on a count of 3. 1, 2, 3. I will love on me. This week is all about loving on you. Okay, we just talked about this. Practicing self-love means learning how to trust ourselves, to treat ourselves with respect, and to be kind and affectionate toward ourselves. Okay, you know, how many of us talk to ourselves wrong? Like, dang, that was so stupid of me. Why I'm so dumb? Why I'm an idiot? No, talk nice to yourself. It says here, just like calling someone you love stupid or an idiot would be incongruent with practicing self-love. Talking like that to ourselves takes a serious toll on our self-love. From group thinking to gossiping, we will do what it takes to fit in if we believe in it and meet our need for belonging, but it doesn't. We can only belong when we offer our most authentic selves and when we're embraced for who we are. So this week, crew, I want you to go out and love on you. That makes me think of a Beyonce song. Love on me. It's me. I can't think of the words right now. But there's a song. I think it's Church Girl. Pop it like a thotty. Trap it like a thotty. Hey, trap it like a thotty. Trap it like a thotty. Okay, back it up. I'm gonna love on me. All right. I love that song, by the way. I know a lot of y'all do. But anywho, love on you this week. That's the challenge of the week. So before we get out, let's talk about what would the crew do? Ask It Voice. We've been doing so good with the Ask It Advice. Y'all been dropping some questions and some scenarios. I appreciate it. All right, so what would the crew do? Ask Advice. And this week it says, I'm a listener. Oh, I'm a new listener, and my first listen was the last episode when you mentioned your husband doing Bible study together every day and therapy. How did you get him to do both? Girl. 12 years to get this man to do both. Okay? Invested. It was an investment, and I feel like both of us are finally starting to get in a groove of what we invested into each other. But no, sis, it's invested. And transparency. Like me and my husband went through this. This is not easy. We've gone through a lot. Okay. A lot. Okay. So don't think what you see online from the little clip I did for our 12-year anniversary is like what it is. We talk about 12 years of hard work, blood, sweat, tears. Okay. It also just being honest and transparent. It was up to him. It was not me forcing him or convincing him or threatening him. It was really him coming and saying, I'm ready to show up. Because we had therapy before. And he admitted like he didn't show up how he needed to show up. It took him to want to show up. He was the one who implemented the Bible study every night, 9:30. We're doing Bible study. If we know we're going to be busy 9:30 that night, we need to do it in the morning. Like, he praying out the journal and everything. I'm like, he better than me. So it really took him. It wasn't me getting him to do anything. I realized being married for this long, you can't change a person. You can't make a person do anything. They have to want to do it for themselves. I could be a guiding light. But at the end of the day, he got to want to do that. And I think it took to where we're at today and me being honest and transparent with him about how I feel, being open with him. You know, sometimes as women, I think we get to the point where it'd be like, well, I don't want to say nothing because I don't want to make him mad or uncomfortable. It's better to just put it out there on the table. And what TDJ say? All that left you could not stay, and all that stayed could not leave. And I realized if I can't be open, honest, and transparent with him and he leave me for that, I'm going to be all right. You know what I'm saying? And thank God that I have someone who sees me. Okay? So it ain't nothing about what I got him to do. It was him coming to a realization this is what he needed to do. So yeah, whatever you're going through relationship-wise, I pray that God guides you. And because I have to continually pray that he guide me, child. So we won't be in this together, and I'll be praying that all of our relationships are guided by God. All right. The relationships aren't perfect, and sure darn ain't easy. All right. So before we shut it down, I got to give you the quote of the week. The quote of the week. The quote of the week comes from our author, Brene Brown, page 31. It says, to practice courage, compassion, and connection is to look at life and the people around us and say, I'm all in. Oh, that's good. Let me say that again. To practice courage, compassion, and connection is to look at life and the people around us and say, I am all in. Thank you, crew, for tuning in to another episode of the Crew Book Club podcast. I will continue to be all in with you right here next week. Have an amazing week. I love you. If nobody else told you, you the ish. Hey. Want to be a part of the crew? Hit that follow button so you'll never miss an episode. And while you're at it, I would appreciate you showing crew love by rating the show on iTunes and Spotify. Don't keep all this goodness to yourself. Share and tell a friend so your whole crew can be growing with you. Let me be the first to tell you, welcome to the crew.